Coming up next on Tech News Today, the Basis Peak smartwatch is so hot, it's not for sale anymore. Also, Facebook wants to save you from clickbait. Apple moves away from the TV and towards the TV guide. Russell Hawley from VR Heads gives us a first look at his new HoloLens that he got just this morning. And robot tattoo artists, and I'm kind of afraid of them. Are you? Tell us. TNT at twit.tv, and then watch the show. It's up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit. Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today, episode 1570, recorded Thursday, August 4th, 2016.
This episode of Tech News Today is brought to you by Trunk Club. Get clothes that fit and look amazing without ever stepping into a store again. Trunk Club will help you create the wardrobe you've always dreamed of with your own personal stylist. Go to trunkclub.com/TNT and join Trunk Club today.
And by Tracker, a coin-sized tracking device that pairs with your smartphone and keeps you from losing your most valued possessions. Visit thetracker.com right now and enter promo code TNT for 30% off your entire order.
This is Tech News Today. Welcome to our show where we like
Yes.
to talk about technology.
We like to.
And we like to talk about it with people who are passionate about technology. I am Megan Morrone.
I'm Jason Howell. Insert witty remark here before our first story. I don't know, it's my Friday, kind of, because I'm not here tomorrow.
Not here today. Owen J.J. Stone and Odocta and Georgia Dow from iMore are both here to take your place.
Nice. That's a fantastic lineup.
But we have you today, unless you're going to get up and
Kind
go
of.
now.
I might just step up and walk out the door and be like, you know what? I'm getting to my long weekend early. No, I won't do that to you.
Okay, good.
And I won't do that to you. It's camera. There we go. There we go. All right. Top story. Once upon a time, some might have considered Intel's Basis Peak smartwatch to be a hot item in the wearable space. And now it's just a hot item that can burn you. So Intel is recalling the devices, having first warned about the overheating issue mid-June. Intel recommends its users stop wearing the smartwatch immediately and shut it down. Intel actually halted production as well as sales of the Basis Peak in mid-June when the issue was first discovered. They thought they could work it out with software, and it just wasn't happening. They said it was going to, dramatically affect the user experience, which I would imagine the alternative of burning you, dramatically affects that too. So they're just saying, you know what, forget it, we're done.
Yeah, I don't want Intel inside my smartwatch. I do not want that.
You don't want Intel inside your skin burning a hole through it.
In my skin. So they blame the continuous heart rate monitoring. That's what they say that maybe is, which is the thing that all of us want for some reason. We need to track everything and all the time.
Because we can.
Yes, exactly. So we say, oh, well, the Apple Watch doesn't do continuous heart rate monitoring because the battery wouldn't last that long. But yeah, or else you put a battery in it that burns your skin. So I don't want that either. I can do without my continuous heart rate monitoring.
I mean, yeah, these wearables, that was kind of the feature that everyone felt like they needed in them from the start. Once they started appearing there, it was like, well, you can't announce one that doesn't have it because people might use it for fitness. Obviously, the Basis Peak was targeted specifically at fitness, so it's not like an Android Wear or an Apple Watch that has all these sort of other uses. It's really kind of dialed into that. But yeah, I mean, maybe for this type of device, that would be useful. I just never really found a whole lot of use for it. And especially like continuous heart rate monitoring. I know I'm still alive. It's okay. They also they're also warning that the Basis Peak service that's behind it, that holds all the data and everything, is going to shut down at the end of the year on December 31st, 2016. So if you have that data there, I'm guessing they'll give you a way to kind of export it out and bring it into, whatever your other fitness band is. If there's tracking information there as well, maybe you can export that out. But that ends at the end of the year.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, Facebook changed its algorithm today, and you won't be able to take one more breath until you click this link and find out why.
I must know.
Really, stop breathing. It's those kinds of headlines that Facebook is claiming that it's going to send to the bottom of your timeline with its new algorithm. Writing on the Facebook News blog today, the company says they will tweak their mysterious algorithm to rank clickbait headlines or link titles lower than more authentic stories. By clickbait, they mean, of course, headlines that are purposely misleading. They want you to click on the link rather than get everything you need from the headline, and then you never go to the story or look at the story's ads. That's why people do it. I've been writing headlines in a long time. I know why you do that. But the sort of like you're never going to believe what happens next. Don't do that. I almost always click on those, and I almost always believe what happened next.
I know. I was gonna say, like, I feel, even though I know that these are clickbait titles, I still end up kind of clicking on them sometimes because I kind of want to know. I don't know. I think there's a difference. Like, I respect that Facebook is trying to do some work to eliminate things that are absolutely misleading. Let's say, like, to the point of, it's a clickbaity headline, and then you click through, and it doesn't actually answer the question in any significant way, and all it does is serve you like 20 million ads on the page. That I would consider to be, something that I would want to be protected from, because that actually doesn't deliver on the promise. But I think there's a difference, and I think some people get these confused between compelling headline and clickbaity title. Because sometimes I think that a headline that poses a question but doesn't necessarily answer it, I don't think that that's necessarily always a bad thing. If the article actually answers the question, why do I have to get all of the information in a headline?
That is a good point.
So I don't know where the line is drawn necessarily.
Purposely misleading.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I think what you're talking about where it's just a page with a bunch of ads.
Yeah, like they send you through. Like there have been some where they ask you that question, and then you go, and it's like a carousel, and each carousel page occupies its own page for the next image, and all of those carry like 8 or 9 ads on the page as well. So, I mean, it's obviously a trick to just load, ad impressions on whoever happens to visit, and do away with those. But
well, I mean, it's bad journalism, and it's bad writing, and it's bad for the customer. I mean, it's bad for that's what we were always taught when we're writing headlines. Don't overpromise, because the person's going to get there. Maybe you've made them click once, but they're not going to come back.
Yeah,
so
true.
Facebook is doing us a favor. They're doing journalists a favor by helping them, teaching them to write better. But at the same time, it's one of those moments where you look and you think, wow, Facebook has so much control over what journalism does. That could be scary, because, now they're doing something good, but tomorrow they might say, like, and the other thing, like, don't ever mention Republicans in any headlines. I mean, they're not going to do that, but they could.
That's taking it to the extreme, of course, and Facebook probably would not do that.
They probably
but
wouldn't.
Yes, I completely understand. Businesses like Upworthy, for example, built around this sort of thing. Upworthy, I think they have a website, but that's not their business. Their business is not their website. Their business is creating compelling enough content, often based on the title, that people can link and share it all over Facebook, and that's just going to drive traffic to that particular story or that particular item or whatever. So this, depending on where Facebook draws that line, could really affect businesses like Upworthy.
Yeah, and what they also say is that if a lot of your headlines are that, like, you're not going to believe what happens next, or look what she found under the couch, or apples are horrible for you, and then you click and you find out they're not really horrible for you, that sort of thing. If a certain percentage of your headlines are like that, then all headlines from that site are going to be, ranked lower. So, if you're fixing your site, fix everybody.
Yeah.
Not just you.
Right. The cumulative effect could be bad for you. Things are looking up here in the U.S. Okay, maybe not all things. Some things are downright freaky right now. But one thing that's looking up is our average broadband internet speeds. According to the Speed Test Market Report, the U.S. has breached 50 megabits per second as the national average speed for the first time ever, 54.96 megabits per second to be exact. That's 42% higher than was reported with this report last year. As far as upload speeds, they say the U.S. sits at 18.8 megabits per second. That's a 51% jump from last year's study, which really got me thinking. I was like, all right, these are like really super duper fast. If you're talking about averages across the U.S., why is this so high? Because I just do not believe that this is the case. It's much lower than this.
So is the average caused by like fiber or something? Why is it higher?
I think what it is this is done by the business is Ookla, and they own Speed Test. And Speed Test is an app. It's you can go to a website and basically fire off a speed test for wherever you happen to be at whatever time. I know I've done it plenty of times. They have apps for all the devices, all the platforms and everything, so that you can test what your speed is at any given time. And I think what it is it's really like self-reporting, right? Like anyone who cares enough about their speed it probably cares enough about things like faster speed,
right? And
having faster speed and proving that they have faster speed. I don't think the average, out in the rural kind of counties, on slow DSL, I don't think many of them are necessarily rushing out and downloading Speed Test and testing their connection.
So it's biased.
That's what I'm thinking, because this seemed really
research.
high. I read that and I was like, yeah, no way. Yeah. There's just no way. Akamai, which serves a lot of content and is very unbiased in that regard, they had a report. When was this? Was this earlier this year? They rated broadband speeds based on its data, which is very far-reaching and pretty much touches everybody. And they showed that the U.S. is at 5.1 megabits per second. The global rate being 6.3, so it was less than the global rate, but still a far cry from 50 megabits per second. So I would almost trust their numbers maybe a little bit more, although maybe that seems a little low. But a lot of people are on things like DSL, and DSL is just not fast.
Yeah, that makes sense. They also ranked cities. So Kansas City is the highest, according to this study. Austin, Phoenix, Seattle, San Francisco. Those are cities that have fiber, right? Kansas City, I think, is the fastest. That was surprising to me, Kansas City. But the other ones go along, like people in Austin, Phoenix, Seattle, and San Francisco do seem to be the people most likely to check their speeds all the time, because that's important to them.
Yeah, I mean, Google Fiber, Kansas City. Google Fiber is doing a lot to kind of, and Google does this a lot with their products. They roll out a product not because they necessarily want it to be a total money maker necessarily, although that would be nice. But I think, to a large degree, it's about kind of resetting the standard or upping the game so that everybody kind of meets them there. And that's what they're doing with fiber. So hopefully the cumulative effect is that it's going to drive everything up.
Well, Recode reports that Apple thinks you need help watching television. They have not finally reached an agreement with content providers to offer you that elusive, skinny bundle of cable channels that they promised us a few years ago. Instead, they plan to function more as a sort of TV guide. Apple declined to comment, but Peter Kafka at Recode says the company is going to tell you where you can watch whatever you want to watch and then let you stream it with one click from Apple TVs, iPads, and iPhones. But they will let you deal directly with the content provider when it comes time to pay for that content.
Yeah, so you're signing up. The way you'd have the app installed for whatever
HBO,
the video service is,
Netflix.
And you'd be logged into it, and this would be like a conduit through to that experience. There are apps doing this right now, Apple does a really great job of taking these things that are already happening and putting their own spin on it and kind of refining it after a while and delivering something that's way better. But there's apps on iOS as well as Android. Just Watch is the one that I use all the time. And it's this sort of thing, like a one-stop kind of like you enter in which services you actually have accounts with, and then it only deals with those. And then, if you've got a piece of content that you want to search for, or they have constantly they're adding to the list new releases and stuff like that are hitting all the services, it'll tell you where it is and it just redirects you right through. So Apple doing this and integrating it into Apple TV, I think that would make Apple TV way easier for managing, because this is a big problem. This is always a problem.
It's a huge problem. Mm-hmm. I don't know how we even survive.
Yes, I'm surprised we're still alive, because we don't know where our content is.
Well, I used to use Just Watch too until I got the newest Apple TV, and it already does this. So I'm not really sure. It does it for everything except for Amazon Prime. There's no Amazon Prime, so I have to switch all the way over to my Roku, which is like a cave person. I have to do that. It's the worst, literally. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is just sort of pointing out, again, Apple is probably not going to make any of those deals with the companies to sell you cable channels, but they'll make it easier. But they have yet to convince Amazon. I don't know whose side, if it's Amazon won't create an app for them or they won't let I think it's Amazon won't create an app for them to make it easy, So, but if they can't get everybody on board, then what's the point?
Yeah, Amazon's a tricky one. It took Amazon a while, obviously in the Android world, Amazon has its own thing going with the Fire line. And it took Amazon a long time for them to realize, like, yeah, maybe we should let our Prime members who aren't all, running our specific devices get to their video content or their music content on other versions of Android that, we don't control. And so they finally kind of opened it up. But yeah, you're right. Like, I think Amazon Video is not Chromecast compatible, and that's Amazon's choice because they've got the Fire Stick. So in certain little ways, they're very restrictive with that kind of stuff. They still want people to kind of feel the need to buy into their ecosystem specifically. Mm-hmm. So passwords aren't perfect, yet they protect our most valuable and important information. And today, Dashlane, which is a popular password manager, along with Google, announced Open YOLO. No, that doesn't stand for You Only Live Once, which, come to think of it, would be a really strange name for a password project. It actually stands for You Only Log In Once. It's an open source API that they hope developers will use to make accessing passwords on mobile from password manager archives way easier. Starting with Android first. So the plan for this kind of open project is to expand into other platforms. So hopefully iOS at some point. I don't know how that would be baked in on the system level the way they plan to do with Android. Because, iOS is just really hard to bake things in on the system level.
I don't know how they would either.
Yeah, unless they've got a specific cooperation with Apple to do so. But basically on Android, I think it was with Marshmallow, they introduced a feature called Smart Lock, which is essentially Android's kind of password manager under the hood. So you log into an app or whatever, and Android in itself can act as your password manager, save those credentials, keep them protected, and offer them up to make the whole process easier. This would, in turn, allow password manager apps like LastPass and Dashlane, of course, to basically tap into the smart lock on Android specifically to start off with anyways. So that would just make it easier. So it's like you can use this baked in secure system in order to make password management easier, but you don't have to use our thing to pull it from. You can use whatever you happen to be using. And as a LastPass user, I'm looking forward to this.
I am too, because it's not always the easiest integration. But yeah, password managers that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
No more.
Right now.
We used to be like, change your passwords regularly. There was just research I saw today from Carnegie Mellon that says mandatory password changes are part of what makes things so insecure. They say when people are forced to change their password every 6 months or every 8 months, it encourages bad security practices. So people will come up with like a pattern or like that encourages transformation, which is just like, I'm going to use the same password, but I'm just going to transform, this to this, like this the capital A to a lowercase a.
Right.
It's totally like, what people do. I'm not saying I have done it when I've had mandatory password changes, but I have done it when I had you have a password and you add, 2014 spring or, 2015, whatever at the end of it. So password managers are the way to do it.
Yeah, any way to simplify. Google at 2 years ago, Google I/O, and then at this year they kind of showed off where they've gotten with it. Project Abacus. I don't know if you remember that. That was they're hoping to have this released in some form by the end of the year. Although I'll be very curious to see if that happens. Where they basically base your password or your access not around a written, a typed out password, but around your usage pattern. So if I pick up a phone and I generally hold it a certain way, and when I type in a certain pattern, it analyzes all these kinds of usage information around who I am, and not to mention the camera shining on my face and everything like that, and that grants me access based on a trust score. So Google's also really looking to just see like what is the next step beyond passwords, because password has been around for a really long time. Maybe it's not the best way to get into our stuff, and it's certainly not the most secure way to get in because we hear about those breaches all the time.
I think eyeball scanning, like we said.
Yeah, iris scanning.
Yeah, I prefer to call it eyeball scanning. Well, after the break, Russell Hawley from VR Heads is here to give us his first look at the HoloLens Developers Kit. But first, let's take a minute to thank Trunk Club, the sponsor of this episode. I actually like shopping for clothes, but I would much rather do it online to save time and energy and to not go outside. The problem is that I hate the hassle of returning stuff that I don't like. And that is just one of the many things I love about Trunk Club. They send me great clothes. If something doesn't fit, then I just put it back in the trunk. I seal it up. I slap on the pre-printed label. They even include the little pieces of tape. You just seal it up. It's super easy. Trunk Club is a shopping game changer for men and women. With Trunk Club, you'll never have to step foot inside a store for your clothing needs again. Plus, you get your very own personal stylist for free. Just type in your measurements, share your style and spending preferences to connect with the right Trunk Club stylist. He or she will contact you via phone, email, or messenger to understand your unique look and learn more about what you're looking for. Your stylist will select items for your trunk from over 80 top brands, and they'll send you a preview of clothes that may be a good fit. They do shoes, too. I'm wearing some Trunk Club shoes right now. You can't see them, but I do have them on. You just have to trust me. Review your trunk via email and make edits before it's shipped right to your door. You'll have 10 days to try on the clothes, keep what you like, and send back the rest. Trunk Club is not a subscription service, and shipping is always free both ways. Premium clothes, expert advice, no work, thanks to your very own personal stylist at Trunk Club. Trunk Club is also backed by Nordstrom, which means they have the highest standards in quality and customer service. And if you live in Dallas, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or DC, you can stop by one of Trunk Club's clubhouses to work with your stylist in person for free. Make a statement at the next big event on your calendar with a look that's handpicked just for you and your style. Get started today at trunkclub.com/TNT. Look and feel your best with clothes that fit you perfectly. That's trunkclub.com/TNT, and we thank Trunk Club for their support. I had some serious FOMO checking Twitter this morning when I saw that one of our favorite VR reporters had received his HoloLens today. We've invited him on to let us know about his first thoughts on the AR headset. Welcome, Russell Hawley, editor.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Thanks, editor. You're the editor at Android Central and VR Heads. Thanks for coming on. So you say your first impression of the HoloLens is that it's a cross between holding an iPad in front of your face that you can see through and then living in a world where your apps can just sort of live up on your walls and you walk up to them and interact with them. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's really neat. You put this headset on, and it's sitting right here. I can't put it on while I have these headphones on, but it takes up your entire field of vision is covered by these lenses, but you can see once the displays are on, it's really just like this space in front of you that's not that much bigger than an iPad, that has all the information on it, all the digital display and everything is kind of superimposed on this lens. So you see the real world around you, but then you also see all of this virtual stuff, which is really neat. It gives you the ability to take my browser, for example. I have an Edge browser that is floating above my regular computer monitor here in front of me, and then I have YouTube is actually hanging out on that wall over there. So I can look up and see something happening on YouTube, and I can reach out and click with my finger, and it'll start playing whatever video it is that I had selected.
So when you picked it up, it looked light. Like it looked like the way you were picking up. Is it pretty light?
Yeah, this is pretty light. It's right around the same weight as the HTC Vive. So it's not super light, and it's all kind of weight balanced here in the front. So you have this secondary part here, this kind of halo that tightly straps to your head to kind of give an anchor, so that the weight is kind of balanced between the back of your head and your nose, so you're not wearing all of this on your nose. But even wearing glasses full time, prescription lenses full time, and I have kind of bulky frames, it's really comfortable to wear.
So what are some of the things you've done with it so far? I know did you really just literally opened it this morning, or did you get it?
Yeah, I'm 10 hours in, and I've done a couple of silly things. I took a big virtual shark, and I put it in the living room, and then I made my son walk through the living room. He had no idea what it was he was going to see, and was really amazed by seeing this shark just kind of floating and swimming in the living room. I've done a couple of silly things like that. Like I said, taking a monitor and fixing it somewhere, taking, just a bunch of apps and putting them in places, not just in a specific room, but all throughout my house. And HoloLens maps these individual rooms so that when I walk into that room, it recognizes that map pattern and then kind of knows where those apps are. So like in my living room right now, just above my television, Netflix is sitting there waiting for me, which was a silly place to put Netflix, but it's it's sitting there. And if I were to walk from this room to that room with HoloLens on, the Netflix logo would be sitting above my television, waiting for me to reach out and tap on it.
Could you walk around watching Netflix?
Oh, absolutely.
To different rooms?
You can move the panel from room to room. The best example of this so far is Skype. if you have a Skype call going, the video chat will just kind of float beside you as you're walking so that you can continue to talk to and see the person that you're having a video chat with. And when they send you files through Skype, you can actually take them and stick them to walls, anywhere in the room that you're in.
So we've heard a lot about HoloLens from the point where we first heard about it, and the promise seemed a lot larger than kind of what it became over time. The field of view, the field of vision kind of shrank down. Everything. Had you used it before this test, and has it lived up to your expectations, at least in the short time you spent with it?
I've used it for a couple of minutes at a time, and it was really, really kind of early stuff that was unofficial hands-on. And if I told anybody that I had seen it, then I was going to get in trouble and stuff like that. So it was stuff that was really broken at the time. This is still a developer preview, but it's surprisingly stable. A lot of the things that you find in the Microsoft Store, they install, they run. There isn't any problems. I've managed to crash it twice on purpose. But just kind of normal day-to-day use, it runs really well.
And was it pretty easy to set up?
Oh yeah, it is. There's really neat walkthrough where it's this kind of combination of voice and touch. And it's interesting, unlike Google Glass, where it had that kind of touch panel on the side, everything is done out in front of you, all the touch interactions. So it has these combination of gestures that it shows you very early on, where you kind of reach out with one hand with your finger up, and as soon as your finger is up in that area, the camera immediately picks it up. And so that becomes kind of your left and right click. And there's always a dot in the middle of your field of view that you use as kind of your mouse pointer. So you point your head where it is that you want, and you click with your finger, and it works very similarly to right and left click on a mouse.
So what was the most surprising thing about it?
Oh, the most surprising thing about it, this is going to seem kind of silly. There are these two little red tabs that are on either side, and they are speakers. So the first thing that really caught me off guard was they're actually pretty nice, and hearing Cortana's voice, it was like right in my ears, and I wasn't expecting it. This kind of very friendly voice, this warm tone walking me through the setup instructions. It wasn't overly loud or anything like that, but it was unexpected and really nice. The speakers that they use, they do a pretty good job of delivering just about any kind of sound. I haven't tried just like a straight music file, but watching a couple of YouTube videos and then having a call on Skype, it was really clear.
And they fit over the top of your ear, or are they bone conducting, or?
No, it's these little tiny red speakers. Yeah. And they just kind of project down.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So like the band kind of runs along your brow basically. Mm-hmm. And so you have the speakers are basically just pointed right into your ears.
Nice.
But it has an audio jack, a 3.5 millimeter jack if you wanted to just wear earbuds or something.
Right.
So what are you going to do with it next? What's your bucket list for what do you have on your list for what you're going to do next?
I have two things in mind. The first, I'm going to install as many of the third-party developer apps as possible to see what developers are doing as they're messing with this developer preview so far. And then I'm going to find a few more ways that I can break it, just to see how stable it is. Because like the one thing that I do, I have a Wi-Fi network here at home that has really non-standard characters. It's actually the table flip emoticon. And that breaks so many things. It's like the very first thing that I do is see what signs into that and works. And so I have a couple of things that I use to see, how I can break things. So it'll be fun.
So when can we expect your first look or your review on VR heads?
I'm hoping to have, some thoughts on this first thing Monday morning.
Awesome. So there was some other VR news. Xiaomi announced a VR headset today called the Mi VR Play. It's like most of Xiaomi's products. It's sort of what you could get for a lot more money, but slightly different. What are your thoughts on this?
This is a really, we see kind of neat things from Xiaomi when it comes to, taking things and making them cheaper and a little weirder. This is a highly stylized Google Cardboard clone. Yeah. You put your phone in and there's going to be an app store that you have access to that is, the assumption here is different from the Google Play version of the Cardboard app setup. But it's really just a stylized Cardboard clone.
Yeah, very stylized. There's a leopard print, Van Gogh print, flowers.
If you've been holding out for a leopard print cardboard viewer, now you've
found
the time.
It.
Yeah.
And the big thing that Xiaomi has always had has been price, and Google Cardboard units aren't particularly expensive, but if you go looking on Amazon, you'll find a bunch of them for 20 and $30, which can be kind of up there when you consider what it is that you're getting. But I think the early preview, I think the translation, the financial translation was like 15 cents.
Yeah.
And then that was obviously not the final price. It's just what the kind of early test people are getting, but that's still in kind of typical Xiaomi fashion, way cheaper than what you would expect.
Right. I mean, I don't think you can really buy anything for 15 cents anymore.
You can't even buy a stick of gum for 15 cents.
Maybe a stick
Maybe.
of gum.
Not a very good
I don't know.
stick
I think
of
they're
gum.
probably a quarter. Yeah. Well, Russell, thank you so much for joining us. Russell Hawley is the editor at VR Heads and Android Central. Is there anything else up there that we need to read?
Actually, yeah, we talked pretty recently about the Ghostbusters VR experience that is in New York City. If you have any inclination towards both Ghostbusters and virtual reality, it was a really fun thing to do. So I would recommend going and checking it out.
Yeah, I had some FOMO from your pictures of that too. That was great. Thanks so much, Russell.
Thanks, Russell.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. All right, Robert Heath sent us an email to tnt@twit.tv. Robert said, additional comment on yesterday's comment on chip cards. It's like a nested comment. Chip cards is that the chip is on the left side of the card. With it on the left, it covers the portion of the card number that's tied to the bank, leaving the rest of the card number that has your account number and the check digit exposed and stationary for anyone around to see or capture with their phone's camera. It would have been better if the chip was on the right or if readers took in more of the card to cover things up. Even if the card was upside down, you can still read numbers with a little more effort because of numbers and your name being raised, so they can get a rub, kind of a rub off the card. A method of getting the card information that predates the magnetic strip, which, yes, that's true. So some things need to change for chip cards to be more secure, both in the store systems and for where the card is physically. You can see the credit card number breakdown with a Google image search. So improvements. I've wondered that when I do the chip card, and I think I mentioned it a little bit, but he did a good job of kind of going into a little bit further detail. But when you put in that chip card, it doesn't take it very far in, and all you have is like the majority of your credit card just facing up. And it's going to stay there for like 20 seconds, 20, 30 seconds, however long that transaction happens. Normally we're taught to kind of hide those numbers to protect yourselves.
Except when we're handing them over to waiters.
Yeah, there's a little bit of extra trust there because they're running a business, right. So you're forced to kind of trust them because otherwise you don't get to pay for the thing, or you don't get to keep the thing that you want to pay for.
Right.
So there's a little, so I suppose it's a little different versus being in line at Target and you go like this, and got 5 people behind you that can all just kind of go, oh yeah, I can read that. Yeah. So
be wary of people taking pictures.
Yes, I know. Oh, somebody's using a chip card. That would be a little suspicious, I would imagine. All right, after that, what's it?
Well, I was just going to add that someone on our YouTube comments, I was, looking through our YouTube comments, and someone pointed out you could just use cash. Like they said, people just use cash.
Yeah. I don't carry cash anymore. Cash is dumb.
Okay.
Not
you should
true.
Respond to that YouTuber, the YouTube comment.
Yeah, it's
definitely.
Like that sounds like a YouTube comment, doesn't it? It's like I said a YouTube comment out loud, a new YouTube comment. That sometimes they read like that. After this, it's time for a little robot roll call. But first, let's take a minute to thank Tracker, the sponsor of this episode. We have all sorts of things. We're talking about smart things all the time on this very show. Smart cars, smart phones, smart homes. We have lots of smart people on the show. Losing your possessions can make anyone feel less than smart, and that's why the Tracker exists. Tracker makes losing things a thing of the past. If you've ever walked out of the room with your keys stashed somewhere and you can't find it, I know I've done that, and then you search for a million hours, and literally you age 1,000,000 years during that time trying to find your keys. It's frustrating to age that much when you're looking for your keys. So all you need to do is put the Tracker on there, and then you can find your keys and you can age doing other things. The coin-sized device locates misplaced keys, wallets, computers, even pets in seconds. The Tracker Bravo is constructed with anodized aluminum, so it's super durable, super thin. You can pair Tracker to your iOS or your Android device, attach it to anything with a key loop or adhesive. And what that allows you to do is find the precise location with a tap of a button. It's It's really that easy. You can customize two-way separation alerts. That way you can receive notifications before you leave your item behind. If you happen to lose your phone, you just press the button on Tracker and your phone rings, even if it was last left on silent. With over 1.5 million devices, Tracker has the largest crowd GPS network in the world, so your lost item shows up on a map, even if it's miles away. If an item goes missing, the Tracker app records its last known location on a map. It just logs that for you. And when another Tracker user comes within a 100-foot range of your lost item, you'll receive a GPS update of where your item's located. Your phone can track up to 10 of these devices at one time. Tracker is enabled by Bluetooth LE, low energy, so the battery lasts up to 1 full year. There are water-resistant cases, also available for purchase and perfect for things like pet collars. You can even add laser engraved message to each Tracker Bravo, things like return information or pets information. And new at Tracker is their custom image printing. I have one right here. You've seen it all week. I know you want it. It's the Tech News Today Tracker. You can personalize your tracker with a custom printed image, but you can't have this one because I'm keeping it. Tracker Atlas, which works with your Tracker Bravo or third-party Bluetooth tracker, will pinpoint your items on a customizable floor plan of your home, which is what you're seeing here. You left it in the kitchen. You're going to know what's in the kitchen. You'll save your time, you save your energy. You just ask Tracker Atlas where your item is, and you'll get the answer. No need to search. So go to thetracker.com right now. You'll never lose your possessions again. Plus, just for our audience, if you enter promo code TNT, you're going to get 30% off your entire order. That's TheTracker.com, promo code TNT for 30% off your entire Tracker order.
Burke was saying that
Yeah.
we could use a privacy shroud. If you don't want to use cash, which you don't, use privacy shroud at Target. Just pull that over.
Yeah, you'd wear it like
A scarf.
a scarf, and then when you're ready to make that transaction, you just go,
Yeah. Right. Privacy shroud.
I like it. That's practical thinking, Burke. Thank you.
Well, TNT's fan of the day is Allison Sheridan, who's a friend of the show,
Yes.
also host of the Nozilla cast. She sent us this picture on Twitter saying she watches TNT on the elliptical. There
we
she
go.
is. And congratulations to Allison, who just became a grandmother.
Congrats, Allison.
Also, if you're listening, Allison, please tell your daughter how impressed I was with the fact that she turned on the workout app on her Apple Watch just as she started pushing out her baby. Like she was pushing and she said, hold on, I gotta set the other
Hold on,
thing.
there's an app for this.
Yeah, I want to set the other workout. And so see how many calories she burned pushing out a baby. She is my hero. And I'm going to tell everyone about her because people make fun of me, how I'm like, oh, I need to see how many calories I'm getting with this. And I wish I had an Apple Watch when I delivered my babies because that is genius.
I'm just amazed that was top of mind.
Yeah,
It's like,
I know.
this crazy stuff's going on, but hold on 1 second. I really
Right.
got to do this.
Yeah, because you got to know. I mean, because maybe you want to have another one, but like, oh, I didn't burn enough calories, so I'm not going to do
How
it
can I
this time.
analyze my last experience to see how I can refine it based on
Exactly.
data? I like it.
Yeah. So show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Record a video or take a picture of yourself. If you're watching while you're giving birth, we
Yeah.
would love to see that.
Yeah,
Post
just
it.
just use your discretion. It's really up to you. I don't know what else to say about
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I would like to see it from a certain angle.
Yes, that's I think what I was saying. Is from a certain angle.
Post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and we will find it.
All right, moving into robot roll call. I was like doing some browsing earlier today, and I found a bunch of robot stories. So I found so many that I was able to pick the 3 best of the ones that I found. So I've got 3 quick robot things here. First, did you ever think you might see the day when robots would scale your walls and weave you a vertical bed thing? Maria Yablanina, a graduate of the University of Stuttgart's Institute of Computational Design, created just that. 2 robots scaled the wall in tandem, filled to the brim with carbon fiber that they used to weave a structure into the wall using protrude rods that you see coming out of the wall there. Don't worry, they aren't limited to walls. If you've always wanted a ceiling bed designed by robots, they can do that too, thanks to the internal fans. It's basically, it sticks to the wall or the ceiling with these internal fans that just kind of keep it suctioned right to the surface.
This reminds me of that spirograph string art. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
We have those.
But this, they said that this could be the 3rd industrial revolution. That this is how
Carbon fibers.
Yeah, we could create entire buildings this way. It'll be amazing.
I like the idea of, we have some friends in town. We don't have an extra bed for them. Hold on, let's get the robot to build a bed into the wall.
Yeah. Or just like
fiber.
Or like a hammock. Like that's what she meant. I want a hammock. I want a robot to build a hammock. I don't think that's too much.
No, and I don't know if I ever knew that I wanted that until I saw this video, and it's true. That would be a perfect application here. I do need a hammock, so this makes perfect sense, actually. Yeah, they are a little restricted. As you can see, there's the wires that are kind of held, hanging off of them. So if they go there, every once in a while you see people run in and reposition because they kind of get tangled up a little bit or whatever.
Right, semi-autonomous.
Yeah, it's a start. Maybe someday they'll have a big enough Tesla battery pack built into it, and they'll be able to do this not plugged in. All right, story number 2. So you say that you have a Roomba that vacuums your floors, but oh wait, you still have to mop your floor? You're a chump. You should get the Brava Jet instead. Also created by iRobot, the Brava Jet has a tank for water and, of course, soapy stuff, and replaceable pads that it uses to scrub the floor. It doesn't have sensors like the Roomba does. Instead, it simply goes forward until it hits an obstacle. Then it goes back the opposite direction with an offset path to mop up even more of that grungy stuff. It works with the iRobot app, so you can designate boundaries, I suppose, to your room and activate spot cleaning features. So you can kind of turn into spot cleaning mode. It's like, here's a really, something. I don't know what that is, but get rid of it, and it'll focus on that. But it sounds like the water tank needs refilling a bit too frequently for this to be a solid must-have. So I don't know if you're getting this for Christmas or you're going to want this for Christmas, but it's an option.
I do want it, except for why is it square? Like the Roomba is circular, but this one's square.
That's a good question. Maybe that allows it to get into those corners better. Honestly, I don't know. That's a maybe maximum distribution of water. Like the Roomba, I think, is more surface area, and this is probably spread out. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I'm just guessing.
I don't know.
Something along those lines.
Well, I don't know if I want one.
You'd leave, and then you come back, and your kitchen floor is mopped.
Yeah, that.
Although the person that wrote up the review said ran out of water after cleaning the bathroom. So it sounds like it needs to be refilled a lot. And I think that's the big difference. Like with a Roomba, it's pulling in. This is actually, putting out and then mopping up, and so it has to store all that stuff that it's putting onto the floor. That could be a challenge. Finally, we use robots to print things on paper, so why not use a robot to print that thing on your arm or your face in the form of a tattoo? French designers Pierre M. and Johan da Silveira modified a MakerBot. Initially, they modified a MakerBot 3D printer, replacing the plastic extruder with a tattoo gun. That made it the world's first robot tattooist. But that led to what we see in the next video. If you go to the other link, or go to the second link on the page here, you'll see a video of a broadening of the project that results in the world's first tattoo by an industrial robot. So if you skip about halfway, there's the industrial robot. So this thing is massive, and it's tattooing on this dude's leg, and I'm frightened.
Here's my question. Why is the guy duct taped to the table? Why is his leg duct taped to the table? Was he doing this willingly or what?
Yeah, right. We got you. We're going to do this whether you like it or not. Well, because this robot, it's early days, right? And so robots don't necessarily, they know the design that they're tattooing, but they don't necessarily know that you've moved a centimeter or an inch. So I suppose they're just securing the arm down super tight so that there's absolutely no movement, so that perfect circle is in fact a perfect circle when it's done and doesn't fall off path because you moved a slight centimeter.
Okay.
Maybe they'll refine and move from duct tape to something a little bit less jarring.
Scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of a robot tattooing your skin is scary in and of itself, I think. Would you do this?
I like tattoos on other people. I find after watching these videos that I just realized that I don't enjoy watching other people be tattooed by a person or a robot.
Not in close-ups either.
No.
Like I'm cool with it far away, but this is like, check out what this thing's doing super close up, and it's kind of crazy to watch. Also, robots must be designed to not push too hard into the skin because, I don't know, that could really hurt you.
Right.
It's kind of frightening.
I feel like tattoo artists are also very cool. And if I were ever to get a tattoo, like that would be part of the thing. I could hang out with a tattoo artist and talk to them, and see all the cool things in their life. But then the robot, not so much.
Yeah. I don't know. Robots doing things. It actually makes sense to me to a certain degree because, in replicating art, robots are incredibly precise. In order to do that, like I was saying, to do a perfect circle as a tattoo artist, a human tattoo artist, that is not the easiest thing in the world for any human to do a perfect circle or a perfect kind of like sphere or whatever the case may be. Those aren't easy tasks to achieve, but for a robot, maybe a little bit easier. But there are other safety considerations that I imagine come into play.
Well, the other thing is I was looking at the comments on the Verge article, and apparently this was already patented in 2007. By a company called Restoration Robotics. So the patent for robot tattoos was already taken. So I don't know how much the automated delivery of therapeutic or cosmetic substance to cutaneous, subcutaneous, and intramuscular tissue regions. That's U.S. Patent 79226.
That just rolls off the tongue right there. That seems so overarching. That's like, we designed the idea that someday robots might give tattoos. That's basically what that patent says based on the title.
2007.
Which, I mean, anyone could have assumed that. So I wonder, beyond that, if they have anything. It kind of sounds like a robot tattoo patent squatter.
Oh, maybe.
Kind of a whole new section of patent squatting.
We should patent a robot that files patents.
Yes, there we go. All right, I'm happy we got there because this is important. This could be the new future. TNT is done for the day. TNT records live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. UTC at twit.tv/live. You can be part of the show by emailing us. And we hope that you do. TNT@twit.tv. Leave us a short voicemail, 260-TNT-SHOW. And find us on Twitter. We're at Tech News Today TV.
You can also find all the ways to subscribe to our show at twit.tv/TNT. Please subscribe. If you know anyone who might like our technology podcast, please ask them to subscribe too. You never know. Maybe you think someone won't like it, and they will.
Be a TNT pusher.
Yeah. Exactly. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Megan Morrone.
And I'm at Jason Howell. Thanks to our technical director, Kara Cole. Thanks to Greg for the words on the screen. And thanks to you for talking tech with us today. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Well, Megan will see you tomorrow. I won't. See ya.